Welcome to our channel, Affirmify Journey.
Great to be diving into this.
Today, we're really digging into something I think a lot of us grapple with. How to actually build a reading habit that sticks.
Mhm.
And, the really profound benefits that can come from it.
Mhm. We've looked at quite a bit of material for this one. Some articles focusing on practical techniques to just get
Yeah,
started.
nuts and bolts.
Exactly. And others looking at the impact of even really short reading sessions, like 10 minutes a day. Plus, we even peeked into the mornings of some very successful people to see how reading fits in for them.
Right. So our mission here really is to equip you with strategies you can actually use and some compelling reasons why making reading a consistent thing is worth it, even if you genuinely only have a few minutes.
Yeah, it's not about adding pressure.
You're failing not. Think of this as a practical guide. How to weave reading into your life without it feeling like another huge chore.
Mm.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Sounds good. So where should we start? Maybe with those core techniques for building the habit itself.
Perfect. Our sources laid out about 5 simple but effective techniques. What was the first one again?
Setting goals, but specifically goals that are specific and measurable.
Ah, yes. Not just, I want to read more. That's too vague, isn't it?
Exactly. The idea is to define what more means for you. So maybe it's, I'll read 30 pages this week, or my goal is 12 books this whole year.
And why does that work? I think it taps into basic goal-setting psychology, right?
Yeah,
A clear target helps with motivation.
precisely. And you can track your progress. The sources mention tools like the Goodreads Reading Challenge or apps like Bookly, seeing that progress bar move, or checking off a book.
It gives you that little hit of accomplishment, turns it into a bit of a game almost.
Yeah, makes it more engaging. And that reinforces the habit loop. Okay, so technique number 2 is about scheduling dedicated reading slots.
This feels really key. Treating reading like an actual appointment.
Something you wouldn't just skip.
Right. So blocking out that time, maybe with your morning coffee or on the train or maybe just before bed, you protect that time.
You make it non-negotiable. It helps avoid that trap of, oh, I'll read later if I have time. Because let's be honest, later often doesn't happen.
So true. You've already made the time. Consistency is built that way.
It really is. Okay, third technique, creating a distraction-free environment.
Oh, this one is huge in today's world. Our phones.
They're the biggest culprits usually, so the advice is pretty direct. Put the phone out of sight. Maybe even in another room if you have to.
Yeah, remove the temptation. And I like the idea of physical cues, too, like having a specific comfy chair or a little corner that's just for reading.
It helps signal to your brain, okay, switch modes, it's reading time now. These little environmental tweaks can make a surprisingly big difference.
They really can. Okay, what's number 4?
Micro-reading and using multiple formats.
This is great for busy schedules, the idea that you don't always need a solid hour.
Exactly. Maybe you listen to an audiobook while you're doing chores or driving or at the gym. That still counts as reading.
Totally. Or using ebooks on your phone or tablet during your commute when carrying a physical book is awkward. Variety keeps it fresh, too.
And it breaks down that all or nothing thinking. If I can't read for an hour, it's not worth it. Even 5 minutes here and there adds up.
It absolutely does. Makes it feel much more achievable. Okay, the 5th technique.
Leveraging accountability and tracking. Basically making it social or visible.
Right, like finding a book buddy to discuss books with.
Yeah, or joining a book club, even an online one. Or just using a simple reading tracker, like we mentioned with the goals.
Having that social element or just seeing your progress laid out adds a layer of, well, positive pressure.
Exactly. A bit of social motivation. It helps reinforce your commitment when you know someone might ask you about the book or when you see that streak building on your tracker.
Okay, so those are some solid how-tos. Now let's shift gears a bit. Why bother? Specifically, how can just, say, 10 minutes of reading a day actually change things? The sources had some fascinating points on this.
They really did. The first one that jumped out was stress reduction and mental relaxation.
This was surprising to me. Apparently, reading for even just 6 or 10 minutes can lower cortisol levels, that stress hormone, more effectively than, listening to music or going for a walk.
Yeah, that's quite a claim. But research seems to back it up. Getting lost in a book, even briefly, gives your mind a break from immediate stressors.
And lower cortisol has knock-on effects, right? Better sleep, maybe less anxiety over time. That's a pretty tangible health benefit from just a few minutes with a book.
Definitely. And related to that is the boost to concentration and what scientists call cognitive reserves.
Okay, cognitive reserves. Explain that a bit more.
Think of it like a buffer for your brain, resilience against aging or neurological challenges. Regular mental activity, like reading, helps build up this reserve.
So even short bursts of focused reading act like little workouts for your attention span.
Exactly. In a world of constant distraction, training your focus, even for 10 minutes, is valuable. And over the long term, building those cognitive reserves might help stave off age-related cognitive decline. It's like preventative maintenance for your brain.
I like that. Compound interest for the mind you mentioned earlier. That makes sense. What else?
Continuous learning and knowledge accumulation. Even 10 minutes a day adds up.
Especially with nonfiction, right? Or articles related to your job or interests. You can pick up new ideas, different perspectives.
Absolutely. It keeps your mind sharp, exposes you to new concepts, maybe sparks creativity or helps with problem solving at work. Those little bits of knowledge compound over time.
Yeah, you never know where the next insight might come from. And it's not just about facts and figures, is it? There was a point about empathy.
Yes, improved empathy and emotional intelligence. This often comes more from reading fiction.
Makes sense. When you step into a character's shoes, see the world from their perspective.
You practice understanding different viewpoints, different emotions. It's like empathy training. And that can translate into better social skills, more emotional resilience in your own interactions.
Who knew 10 minutes of fiction could do all that? It's pretty powerful when you think about it.
It really is. And perhaps the most practical point for many people listening, 10 minutes is just easier to integrate.
Yeah, it lowers the barrier to entry, doesn't it? It combats that feeling of, ugh, I don't have time to read a whole chapter.
Exactly. Starting small feels less daunting. And often what happens is once you start that 10 minutes, you get into it and might actually read for longer.
Right, the inertia is broken. Getting started is often the hardest part.
Precisely. So that initial small commitment can be the gateway to a much more consistent habit.
Okay, so we've covered the how and the why. Even small amounts matter. Now let's look at some real-world examples. The morning routines of successful people. How does reading fit in for them?
This part is quite motivating, I think. Take Barack Obama, for instance. The sources say he starts his day reading newspapers and blogs.
Soaking up current events and different viewpoints first thing. Sets a knowledgeable tone for the day, you imagine.
Exactly. Staying informed, understanding the landscape. Then there's Warren Buffett. His reading habits are legendary.
Spends something like 80% of his day reading. Financial reports, newspapers, biographies.
It's central to his whole compound knowledge philosophy. He sees reading as the primary way to build understanding over time in his field. It's not a side activity, it's the main event.
That's incredible dedication. It really highlights reading as a tool for professional mastery. What about someone like Bill Gates?
Another avid reader. Reads about 50 books a year, often early in the morning. Covers a huge range of topics: health, technology, science.
And for him, it seems like fuel for thinking, right? Not just information gathering, but sparking new ideas.
Yeah, definitely using it as creative fuel. Then you have Tim Cook at Apple. His routine apparently involves getting up very early.
And reading user emails and industry news.
Right. Very strategic reading, directly connecting with customer feedback and market trends. It shows how reading can be tightly integrated with, high-level operational priorities.
Keeping his finger on the pulse through focused reading.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And Ariana Huffington, her approach is slightly different, isn't it?
It is. She emphasizes reading physical books for about 20-30 minutes before engaging with any technology.
Ah, so it's about mindfulness, setting a calm, focused tone.
Exactly. Reducing stress, improving focus before the digital deluge begins. She links that mental centering directly to overall productivity and well-being.
So when you look at all these examples, Obama, Buffett, Gates, Cook, Huffington, what's the common thread that stands out to you?
For me, it's the intentionality. They choose to prioritize reading. It's not something they fit in if there's time left over.
Yeah, I agree. Despite their insane schedules, they carve out this time because they clearly see immense value in it for knowledge, for perspective, for focus, for staying current.
It really reframes reading not as a leisure activity, although it can be, but as a fundamental habit for growth and success.
Absolutely. So let's try and bring all this together. What are the main takeaways from our deep dive today?
Well, first, building a reading habit is definitely achievable. It doesn't require huge chunks of time. Small, consistent steps work.
Right. Using techniques like setting clear, measurable goals.
Scheduling it in, creating that distraction-free zone.
Using different formats like audiobooks or just grabbing 10 minutes here and there.
And maybe adding some accountability with a friend or a tracker.
And second, even those short bursts, like just 10 minutes a day, pack a surprising punch.
Yeah. Benefits for stress reduction, keeping your brain sharp, continuous learning, building empathy.
And we see proof of this value in the routines of incredibly successful people who make reading a non-negotiable part of their day.
It's clearly a powerful tool, which leads us to the final thought for everyone listening.
Right. What small, totally doable reading goal could you set for yourself, maybe starting today or tomorrow?
And just ponder this. How might adding just 10 minutes of reading into your routine start to shift your perspective, or maybe just make your day a little bit better?
Follow a Mirmified Journey YouTube channel and like and share this podcast.